Welcome, and thank you for standing by. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode until the question and answer period. If you would like to ask a question at that time, please press star then 1 on your touch-tone telephone. Today's conference is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. Now, I would like to turn the meeting over to your host for today's call, Mr. Jared Liu. Sir, you may begin.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. This is the third Thursday webcast series. It is a monthly webcast held at the lunch hour. The trainings leverage local successes by amplifying to a larger audience two model organizations' methods, materials, and approaches. Sessions are planned to last no more than 1 hour, with two presenters speaking on the same topic from slightly different perspectives, each for 10 to 15 minutes, followed by 10 to 15 minutes of questions and answers. Today's session is approved by the ISA for 1 CEU hour and by SAF for 1 CFE Category 1. If you haven't already given me your certification number, you can email me after this session. Alternatively, most state landscape architecture boards require only a certificate of completion, which ACT is happy to provide upon request. This is a program of the Alliance for Community Trees, and we encourage you to consider joining if you're not a member. We also want to thank our sponsors for today's call, the Home Depot Foundation and the USDA Forest Service. Today's session is Tree Campus USA. The Tree Campus USA program recognizes college and university campuses that effectively manage their campus trees, develop connectivity with the community beyond campus borders to foster healthy urban forests, and strive to engage their student population utilizing service learning opportunities. By meeting the annual standards and being recognized as a Tree Campus USA college, you can create a campus that not only benefits the environment, but also instills pride in the students, faculty, and community. Our first speaker today is Mary Widhelm. Mary is the program coordinator for the Arbor Day Foundation, specifically working with the organization's National Poster Contest and its newest venture, Tree Campus USA. She oversees the recruitment of universities and dissemination of materials and information to the various participating campuses, as well as other partnering organizations. Mary received a degree in communication in Spanish from Nebraska Wesleyan University in 2004 and has 4 years of experience in working with teens and young adults in youth ministry. This, partnered with her lifelong love of nature and the outdoors, makes her a valuable addition to the Arbor Day Foundation, the nation's largest nonprofit tree planting organization with nearly 1 million members. And we're happy to have Mary here, and we turn it over to her.
Thank you, Jared. Like Jared said, my name is Mary Widhelm, and I am the program coordinator for the Arbor Day Foundation. I'm really excited just to be here and get to share with you about what we do here at the Arbor Day Foundation and what exactly the Tree Campus USA program is. So first, I just want to give you a little bit of an introduction on what I'm going to talk about. And I will first start out just by going through some background information on what the Arbor Day Foundation is, and then touch on what the Tree Campus USA program is all about, how the standards work within the program, and what exactly, how it can be used as a tool to connect with the community. So first off, our mission here at the Arbor Day Foundation is to inspire people to plant, nurture, and celebrate trees. We have been around since 1972 and have about a 1 million member base. And basically all of our work here is aimed at engaging and supporting individuals and communities and other institutions in their work with trees. We have a variety of programs, from programs that reach out to young children, connecting them with nature, to replanting our nation's forests, and a variety of urban programs as well. And those are the ones that I want to talk to you about right now. Our 3 urban programs are the Tree City USA program, Tree Line USA, and our newest venture, Tree Campus USA. Now, Tree City and Tree Line have been around for a little bit, and Tree City is actually our oldest and very first urban program that we started. It reaches out to over 3,000 communities. There's 3,000 now that have been recognized as tree cities, and it really sets a standard for tree care practices and such as pruning, planting the right trees in the right places, it's just a lot of things like that on best practices for managing urban trees. Now, Tree Line USA is similar in the fact that it is urging, utility companies to reach out to the people that they work with, the cities that they're involved with, and just really encouraging them, though, to be thoughtful in their interaction with trees. There's always trees that need to be pruned so that they're not in the way of power lines overhead or underground power lines as well. And so if they need to be pruned, if they need to be shaped up in any way, doing it in such a way that is best for the tree as well as keeps intact the beauty of the tree for the city as well. And then our third program is our Tree Campus USA program. We actually refer to these three as kind of our trifecta here, where we really feel that the three of these programs together in a community really balance and complement each other, and they're an essential tool to any community, actually, as they manage and care for their trees. So now I'll go into what the Tree Campus USA program is just in itself. And it's open, like I said, it's the newest program that we launched actually just this last August, and it is open to any 2 to 4 year accredited college or university. In our first year, actually, we've been able to recognize 29 universities throughout the country, and those are listed on our website. If you click on the web address below, or actually just copy it into your browser later, you'll be able to find those on our website there. But they range from small community colleges up to big universities. So it's really, it's open to any kind of university. It's not just for, environmental universities either. So what exactly is the Tree Campus USA program? Well, it was started as an idea that actually sprang from a partnership between the Arbor Day Foundation and Toyota Motor North America as an effort to award national recognition to those colleges and universities across the country that are really encouraging their best tree management practices and educating that next generation of tree stewards. We modeled it after the highly successful Tree City USA program that I mentioned earlier, and it recognizes that campus community forests require numerous resources to flourish. So we use standards and work with the universities to lay this foundation for that. It enhances the campuses and lays the foundation just for any campus to really improve and better their urban forests. Now, when they meet the standards, they can apply for recognition, and upon approval of their application, we offer them a national recognition for the great efforts that they're doing, and it really brings national attention to what's going on their campus. So it's a great opportunity for if you're a nonprofit organization involved with a campus, or you're just a campus yourself, it brings national attention to the things that you are doing. So with that said, I'm going to talk a little bit about the actual standards of the program and how universities can gain this recognition and what part the community or nonprofits can play. And I'm actually, for this next part, I'm going to focus a little bit more on nonprofit organizations and how they can reach out to campuses. But this can be open to anybody. I mean, if you're just a citizen within a community, or you're part of a company, say like a Bartlett Tree or a Davy Tree that works with communities on pruning trees or taking care of their trees, it's open to them too. So, but for the purposes here, I will just focus on nonprofits. We do have 5 standards, and the first 4 standards are actually, if you're familiar with our Tree City USA program, they are essentially the same standards as the Tree City USA program, but they've just been geared a little bit more towards campuses. And then what we did was added a 5th standard, which involves a service learning component, because we really believe in students taking an active role in this, and a leadership role, and getting them to be a part of this, because they are the next generation. They're going to be taking this mission on of being environmental stewards. So our first standard is the establishment of a campus tree advisory committee. And what this group is it's really the champions of the whole Tree Campus USA program. They're the ones that are going to be there offering a consensus, offering their support and backing of, say, what the facilities team is doing on campus. We require that there's a diverse audience, that there's membership from the student body, the faculty, facilities management team, and the community. And we ask for this because every committee needs varying ideas of what is the best thing out there for the trees on their campus. So this provides an opportunity for that dialogue to take place. Now, if you're a nonprofit organization or a community member, this is a great opportunity for you to get involved, and you can become a part of this committee. So say if there's a tree that needs to get taken down and it's a prized 100-year-old tree, then the students don't come to school someday and just realize that, oh, their tree's gone, and then there's a big uproar. This committee will help, and the community member can be a part of that in sharing what's going on the campus and then taking it to the community, as well as what's going on in the community and bringing it to the campus level. Now, our next standard is the development of a campus tree care plan. And this is really an important part of the program, because it sets forth exactly what a campus is going to do and establishes a framework of tree care and maintenance. It offers this concrete plan for people to refer back to if there's any questions or concerns that arise. And especially if you're an outside organization in the community wanting to come in and either plant trees on campus or just learn about how they're taking care of their trees, if they have things established, and you can look and see, okay, these are the people that are actually in charge of implementing this plan, and this is how they're going to take care of their trees. You'll know that this is an investment that's good because they're going to be taking care of their trees, and they have protection and preservation policies set up. All of these standards are actually listed. The criteria in the tree care plan, are listed on our website. Also, if you click on the link below on the slide and just find the tab that says standards on our website, they'll all be listed there in detail. But some of them are just having a clearly stated purpose. Who is going to be the people that are going to enforce the plan? Who's the responsible authority or department? Are there protection and preservation policies? If they're not, there needs to be some setup. If they're, what are your goals and targets for the future? How are you going to maintain this plan and continue to better the work that's going on your campus? And again, what is your communication strategy? How will people know what's going on and how they can get involved as well? Our third standard is the evidence of dedicated annual expenditures. And what this does is it really guarantees commitment from the university as an institution to the financial needs of the grounds and landscapes department. It shows that they're on board and they want to make this a priority in what they're doing on the campus. There's no minimum requirement. We only suggest about $3 per student, and you would be really surprised on how easy that is to make up that $3 per student, because the expenditures can be made up of the cost of trees purchased, labor and equipment, the value of volunteer labor, professional training, and much more. So it's quite easy to get to that $3. Now, our fourth and fifth standards are having an Arbor Day observance and the institution of a service learning project. And these two are the ones that I feel that people that are involved with Alliance for Community Trees, I think this will be the areas that you can focus in on the most, because these are the action-oriented places. Each university is required to meet the fourth and fifth standards. They need to have an Arbor Day observance, which provides a golden opportunity for universities to educate the campus community on the benefits of trees and what's going on their campus property and in the community. This is a great opportunity for outside organizations to get involved and help plan this, help facilitate that this happens. Same thing with the Service Learning Project. again, like I mentioned before, we feel it's an important aspect that the students really get involved in this. And this can be an outreach in the spirit of Tree Campus that drives home the action of environmental stewardship to them. And if you're a nonprofit organization coming in and you want to plant trees on campus, this is a great way to get this, to have your foot in the door and say, hey, you know, you guys need to do these, have an Arbor Day observance and a service learning project to gain this recognition. Let us help you. And so with that, I want to talk a little bit more just about community involvement and how people can really get involved in this and become a part of it, because it is an essential tool that communities can use to reach out to universities, as well as universities to reach out to members in the community. A great example of this is Casey Tree in Washington, D.C. They're doing a wonderful job reaching out to the area schools, letting them know, hey, if you have an event coming up, let us help you. If you have questions on how to design a tree care plan, let us give you more information. We can help get this set up for you. They're doing a great job of being just a resource there. Same thing with Teresa Rhodes, who's going to be speaking afterwards with Keep Indianapolis Beautiful. They're doing a great job of getting their community involved in planning on Arbor Day observance, and they had over 100 students come to their Arbor Day observance and get involved in from 5 different universities, and they had a service learning project as well. So just providing those opportunities is what's important, because these students, they're going to be the up-and-coming environmental stewards. They will one day be graduates and your potential clients or employees or volunteers. So it's important not to look at these universities and see them just as islands within a city. We really want to reach out and bring everybody together, because the students are an important resource. They can be volunteers, but also just with having a beautiful campus with not so great of tree care going on in the city, or vice versa, it's important that we're supporting each other in these efforts. Who are the different people that you could reach out to, or how can we make these connections? There's a variety of organizations. The Alliance for Community Trees is a great one. They can provide you with all sorts of different ideas of who's in your community and what's going on. We at the Arbor Day Foundation would be happy to help you and let you know where different events are taking place, what universities have already been involved, who we've contacted if you want to reach out to them. Don't forget about your urban and community foresters. Your city forester, if they have a bunch of programs going on, if they have things that need to get done in the city, talk to them, and then look to the students. Look to what the universities are doing. See how you can collaborate. Be that person that can help to facilitate those collaborations. And same thing with our Tree City USA communities. Talk to us about those, and we can let you know who's on their tree board in that city and volunteer to be on that board. And if you're on one of those boards, volunteer to be on the Campus Tree Advisory Committee. Some specific things that you could work on with these students, student-led tree inventories. Some cities don't have these, and it's good to know what trees are in your area, how to take care of them, where are they located, so that you can know what to plant and where to plant them. Students can help with this. If there's a forestry class that wants experience, talk to them, talk to the city official, let them know what's going on, and connect the two together. There's always sororities and fraternities that have philanthropy projects that are taking place. Sometimes they need to do them and they don't know what to do. If you provide them with an idea, they have the manpower and they can get it done. They just need a little guidance sometimes. We have our Nature Explore classrooms that we partner with Dimensions to create, and the goal of these classrooms is to connect kids with nature at a really young age. So if you have a city park or maybe an early education center on a university, that instead of an asphalt playground, have the students help you build a beautiful playground area, the Nature Explore classroom, so that these students can, at an early age of 3 to 4 years old, they can see how great nature is just for learning. And again, if there's just any stewardship or volunteer opportunities, talk to the universities about this. Have students lead tree walks. Take them through arboretums. There have been universities that have had the students lead classes on how to promote plant trees, properly pruning trees, all sorts of things. So the idea is just be creative. There's all sorts of ideas, and if you need more, let me know. We're going to be developing a toolkit, and we can get this information out to you. So the main goal of all of this, though, is really just to help foster that next generation of environmental stewardship, and really just to help promote the best practices in managing campus trees. So as a recap, what is the Tree Campus USA program? It offers this national recognition, brings national attention to those universities that have their best foot forward on managing their campus trees, and they're engaging their campus community in environmental stewardship. To get this recognition, the universities need to meet the 5 standards that we've set forth, and by meeting these standards, it really gives organizations outside of the university as well as the university opportunities to connect with each other. So just as a quick takeaway, what you can do, help spread the word, encourage campuses to apply. There's all sorts of campuses out there that already are meeting these standards, but they just don't know about the program. So if you know a great campus that's near you, let them know about the program and work with them to meet these standards. Volunteer, like I said before, to be on the tree advisory committee, or just help them plan an Arbor Day observance or a service learning project. Connect with these students, provide them the guidance, teach them to be leaders in this area, and you'll really be making a difference just in the future in general. So I thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, let me know right now, or feel free to give me a call. My information is right here. And check out our website. I would be happy to talk to anybody who has any questions, though. So I encourage you just in your efforts in this, and I look forward to working with some of you in the future. So thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Mary. If the operator can open the lines for questions, please.
Certainly. If you would like to ask a question, please press star, then 1 on your touch-tone telephone. When prompted, please record your first and last name. To withdraw your request, you may press star 2. Once again, if you would like to ask a question, please press star, then 1 now.
And I'll also say that for those who are shy or keyboard inclined, you can ask a question online. The Q&A menu up at the top, you can pull that down and type your question in, and I'd be happy to come on the line and read your question for you. So I guess I want to start by saying that it really has kind of opened my mind. I wasn't thinking about all of the great ways that nonprofit organizations can be involved, but I do want to clarify that ultimately it's the campus tree advisory committees that would be applying, right? So this is just a way for the nonprofits to reach out and for the campuses to reach back to them. They wouldn't be the ones who are applying, right?
Correct. The campus themselves would be the ones submitting the application, but like I said, KP Tree and Keep Indianapolis Beautiful, they've been working with these universities and helping them, even some of them kind of need that hand-holding through, and just helping them go through the standards, and even if it isn't hand-holding, but just encouragement of, come on, keep doing this. This will be great for you. This will bring recognition to you. It's that sort of encouragement that the nonprofit organizations can really help with.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's colleges and universities are the only ones
Correct.
that can apply, right? This isn't for high schools or...
No, it's just, right now it's just 2 to 4 year accredited college and universities. I've had many questions about that and, corporate campuses or high school campuses, but right now, since we just launched it, we're focusing just on colleges and universities, but that doesn't mean in the future that we might not open it up to some of those.
And that's just from an initial implementation process? No. There's not a strategic reason that you can share with us? Or
no, not really. Just it was a focus area that we really felt was we wanted to reach out, and I guess the strategic side would be that we really feel that this college-age demographic is an important demographic to be reaching out to right now, because they will be the next people to come up. And so it was just really important that we focus just on them so that they have a specific area that they can be involved in.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question online. Are there any campuses in New York State that are Tree Campus USA?
Actually, Bard College just sent in an application about a month ago, and they were the first college in New York that was recognized as a Tree Campus.
Okay. When are current applications available to campuses, and when are applications due to the Arbor Day each year?
The applications are available online. If you go to our website, again, there's a button at the top that says Apply to Become a Tree Campus USA School, and if you click on that, there's an online application process as well as a PDF that you can download. I will let you know that we are right in the middle of updating that application, so if you start one, it'll still go through to the new version. The standards stay the same, but we're going to make it a little more user-friendly. So you might see a different view in the next couple weeks. But if you go there and click on that link, you can start your application that way. Materials can be uploaded to our website, so you don't have to mail stuff to us. And all applications are due December 31st. So once you meet the standards, then that's the time to submit your application. There's been people who have asked before, if we're having an Arbor Day observance in November, can we submit it now? No, we really need your application to be completed because we're recognizing you for the work that you've done, say for this year from January of 2009 through December 31st of 2009.
Okay. One participant wants to work with Bowling Green State University in what could be a similar situation with a lot of people, and that the university is under a budget freeze, economic condition, and I guess in that situation too, the arborist was laid off last year, and they think it could be a couple years before they can participate. And I think this is a pretty common question we hear from the nonprofit community too. Is available from Arbor Day Foundation or others that you're aware of that can help advance this.
So you said what resources are available?
Specifically funds, but you can have resources in general, sure.
Well, in that circumstance, I would say probably our best resource that we can offer you is just the support through this and connecting you with other people. We as a nonprofit don't offer grants or anything of ourselves. We will be having, if you check back on our website in a few weeks, towards the beginning of June, we will be hosting 10 different tree planting events throughout this school year. But that's only open to 10 schools that apply for it and are selected. But as in general, I would say for the universities that have said that they're on a budget freeze, when they talk to me about that, it really ends up that we really just need them to continue working, because it doesn't mean that they have to stop taking care of their trees, and actually if they do stop taking care of their trees, they're going to end up having to spend more money later on. So we really encourage them just to look and see, okay, there still is probably a facilities team. What are they doing right now to take care of their trees? Because it doesn't necessarily mean that, that they have to have an arborist on staff, but if they do, that's great. But there's a development of a plan. If budgets are cut, maybe revise your tree care plan to reflect that. And because the standards, the expenditure standard doesn't mean that you have to have any minimum amount of money spent. Reach out to volunteers. That can be part of your expenditures, what you're doing, and that can help you to reach out to students too, and get things accomplished on the campus that would normally cost money, but now you have volunteer labor. So does that help to answer the question, Jared?
I think so.
Okay.
Let me have a couple follow-ups here. Are you familiar with anyone who Toyota is supporting locally, since they're the national sponsor?
Well, we did our 10 events last year at various universities that were near Toyota plants. Like one was in Northern Kentucky University and Jackson State University, and so for that, Toyota's the sponsor there. So Toyota helped to sponsor planting 100 trees on each one of those campuses, and same thing, University of California, San Diego. So they've been working that way to help support these efforts as well.
And are you familiar with any organizations who are using the Tree Campus name and the program to leverage funds from anyone else? just to show that, hey, now we're certified, we're official, this is a great honor. A lot of times, if you show someone that you've won an award, or you show someone that you have some sort of recognition,
right,
often help leverage something for you, even if specific funds for that program.
Virginia Tech actually did that. It was more they were applying for a governor's award, and they received honorable mention in Virginia for that award, and they used Tree Campus having their event, letting them know, this is what we have planned and all of that, and that helped them to receive honorable mention. Now, did they get funds out of that? I don't think so, but again, having that award will help them in the future too if they reach out and need, apply for other grants. So it's helped them in that way specifically.
Okay. Does the operator have any questions in queue?
I do have one question. Mr. Knight, your line is open.
Thank you. Is the approval process for the award done through the state forester's office, or how does that determination made?
It is. Right now, the applications come to the foundation first, just because this is the first year and we're still trying to work out, kinks and how we gather information. They come to the Arbor Day Foundation first, and we have a review team that does just an initial review to make sure that the materials are there and the standards have been met. Then we send it on to the state urban and community foresters, and they are the ones that do the final in-depth review and final approval. And if there's ever along the way more materials that need to be requested or revisions that need to be made, either the urban and community forester contacts the university, or we here at the foundation contact the university and let them know. So we can go back and forth like that, basically until they can meet the approval, or until they realize, maybe next year we should apply and work on the standards more for another year. So that's how the foresters are involved.
Just a follow-up question, are the award materials pretty much the same as that for a Tree City USA award? That is a flag or a plaque, etc.?
Yes. So right now, the first year everyone receives a beautiful cherry wood plaque and a flag for their universities, as well as a Tree Campus USA cap. And then we'll offer press releases or anything else that we can help for media attention. And then the following years, we're still developing the other media or the other recognition materials.
Is there a sign?
Right now, there's not, because we had gone back and forth. We had a review group with different universities, and there's so many rules sometimes about different signs that can be placed and how they're placed, and do we want street signs or banners or whatnot. So we just decided for the first year not to do signs. The universities, there have been some like Virginia Tech that wanted to create their own, and so we don't have a problem. We'll send you the logo, and universities could create their own. But in the future, we do, probably for maybe fourth or fifth year recognition, we will be creating some sort of sign that will go along with the materials.
Thank you.
Mary, do you have a prepared presentation that people can slap their logos onto too and have something professionally to show locally?
Sure, yeah. I have one that I could send in PDF form that's just kind of a general presentation about the Tree Campus USA program that I'd be happy to send out.
Great. If you want to send it to me, I'll link it along with the recording for this presentation.
Okay, great.
And did you say that volunteer hours count towards the per capita or budgetary amount? Okay. And it's just that whatever independent sector is rating volunteer hours at?
We have it right now at $18 per hour.
Okay, great.
I have one more question in queue if you want that.
Oh, sure, great. Go ahead.
Our next question is from Jennifer Rowell. Your line is open.
Hi, this is actually a comment to one of the questions that someone typed in about sorting the funds for campuses. Check with your state's forestry department and see if they have an urban and community forestry grant program. I know in North Carolina, communities that are working towards Tree City status will often apply for the Urban and Community Forestry Grant, which is a federally funded grant, and they use those funds to maybe hire a consultant to help them write their ordinance so that they can get that part of their standard met. So that's one option for looking for funds if your state forestry office has a urban and community forestry grant program that the college could apply for, and on their application state that they are working towards tree campus status, and the funds would be used to pay a consultant or pay a consulting arborist or whatever they need to get the standards met and be able to apply for tree campus. And one other thing I wanted to add is we had a really great event with one of our tree campus communities, Southeastern Community College in Whiteville. We had a joint tree campus and 3 community Tree City USA celebration.
Wonderful.
We had Whiteville was a first-year Tree City. Southeastern Community College, also in Whiteville, was there, and 2 other communities within the same county. We had Tabor City. I think Tabor City, I can't remember, Tabor City or Chadburn was getting their 5-year award, and the other community was getting a 6-year award. So we had representatives from all 3 communities and the campus at one Arbor Day event on campus, and planted a tree with all of the officials. So that was a really great event.
Wonderful.
Okay. Are there any other questions in queue?
At this time, I have no further questions in queue.
Okay. Chris Johnson from the South Dakota office he had a reminder too. I think it's a good point to remind everyone to contact their state forester's office with questions about tree campus in your respective states. And apparently there might be a way within here to show that that you're a state forester by changing the color on your block. I'm not sure how to do that, but there is a link on within the Forest Service's site as well as Arbor Day site. If you just went to Google and put in State Urban Coordinator, if you're not sure who your state coordinator is, you can find out that information pretty easily.
Yeah, we have those just on our website too. So just search it in our website, and it'll bring up a whole page with all their contact information.
Great. Okay. Well, we'll move on to Teresa, and if there are other questions and we have time for them at the end, we can circle back around to Mary. So thanks, Mary.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Our second presenter today is Teresa Rhodes. Teresa is the Director of Advancement for Keep Indianapolis Beautiful, managing a fundraising campaign to raise $8 million for neighborhoods from a diversity of corporations, individuals, and foundations. She has devoted nearly 20 years of her career as a fund development professional, currently with Keep Indianapolis Beautiful, with past experience at a public policy think tank and working for U.S. Senate campaigns. Her expertise includes cultivating donors, securing major gifts, conducting prospect research, grant writing, annual fund development and execution, and managing hundreds of large and small events. Her skills and experience extend to strategic planning, marketing, management, and brand development. She believes the joy in philanthropy is discovery and union, discovering a person's charitable aspirations and uniting them with a worthy cause. And we're thrilled to have Teresa join us today.
Thank you very much. I'm listening to you read my bio, and I'm thinking to myself, it might seem strange that a development person is so intimately involved in campus outreach. And what I'm going to do in my comments is just talk a little bit about Keep Indianapolis Beautiful and some of our on-the-ground experience. And the genesis for me getting involved with campus outreach was we had one of our major donors host several outreach meetings to his friends, and we did brainstorming about our Neighborhoods program and what we should be doing, who we need to get actively involved in our tree planting effort. And consistently in these meetings, people said campuses because we have 6 universities in Indianapolis. And so from there, I had started to reach out to one college and was going down this path of trying to get these universities involved separately, but parallel to Tree Campus USA being launched. It had not been launched when we had sort of headed down our path. So I'll just kind of tell you what our experience was. It might give some insight in terms of the nonprofit perspective, because we are a nonprofit. Keep Indianapolis Beautiful we're over 30 years old. We started as a city agency primarily for anti-litter. And in '95, we started to branch out into community improvement, doing pocket parks and tree planting and green space development. We became a nonprofit in 1981. And so we have a pretty long history. We're fairly recognizable in the city. Our budget is over $2 million. Our mission is, I'm just sort of talking here. I've never done this before, and I'm not even moving forward our slides, so I'm sorry. Anyhow, our mission is to unite people to beautify the city, improve the environment, and foster community pride. Each year we have about 40,000 volunteers working on 500 community improvement projects. Projects run from outdoor classrooms to urban gardens to tree planting. Litter cleanup still remain core to our work. Yesterday we had 8,000 volunteers from a Fortune 500 company all over the city, painting murals, planting trees, cleaning up, all sorts of things. So we're a pretty large organization. Tree planting is a primary program of ours, which we called Neighborhoods to sort of parallel with the National Neighborhoods Program. And our goal is to plant 100,000 trees in the city. We determined early on that the trees we were going to plant were going to be 1-inch caliper or larger. We've done a audit of trees that volunteers have planted, and we have over a 90% survival rate. Most of the trees we get, actually all the trees we get, are local nurseries, either in Indiana, Illinois, Michigan. Our goal is to educate people about the need and benefits for trees, to motivate people to plant trees, and to care for them. Our Neighborhoods partners include probably what some of you have involved in your programs: neighborhood groups, corporate volunteers, individual volunteers, schools, government. We work with the city of Indianapolis all the time, and we actually got a federal grant for some of our tree planting. Faith-based organizations, cultural institutions, higher ed institutions. I put those on there because, as I said at the beginning of my comments, we had these meetings where we did some brainstorming on groups to get involved, and the last 3 were areas that came up consistently. And so we're also in the process of working with faith-based organizations in Indianapolis. We had really successful planting with a larger church in Indianapolis about 3 weeks ago, and they actually raised money at the church from the pulpit, and we raised $10,000 to plant 100 trees. It's terrific. So we're still focusing on getting involved with the Green Congregation movement, which is, I would imagine that in most everyone else's communities is really growing. It is here. It's a good place to capture interest and awareness and dollars and volunteers. And again, the reason we started looking at them was people said, oh, well, who has property to plant trees? Churches. What we found out with the churches, and it was also what we found out with the universities, is they really don't want to plant on their own property. Cultural institutions, the same things, museums that have more property, and then finally higher ed institutions. So essentially, what we're trying to do is to unite students from all 6 universities to do an annual tree planting, whether it's all of them together coming on to one project, or each university is doing one tree planting. Is sort of where that started. The next slide, it takes a leader. We actually originally started working with one student at a private school here in town, and he seemed really excited about what he was doing. And then we got in the landscape architect, the grounds crews, maintenance folks, and had a meeting with them. Then we met with the director of operations. And I just sort of put this here because we had a number of meetings and contacts going forward with trying to get a tree planting at one university is where we started. And we have an annual application process that people have to submit in order to do a tree planting, and we have a minimum requirement of 20 trees to be planted. And the student never submitted the application. So we'd started down this road thinking, oh, this is great. We're going to get Butler involved. We actually, Mary had talked earlier about where they select 10 schools to do tree plantings. We actually had submitted an application for it. Well, the school did. We got a letter from the director of facilities, and then the student didn't follow through. And the way we do our projects is all of our projects are identified through an application process. And so there's ownership within the community, and for us, that's the way we operate. It's what's been most successful. We rarely will sort of see an area of need and say, and impose our ideas on a community. It's always generated from the ground up. So there's ownership and commitment and maintenance. So anyhow, that fell through. So the next step was I decided to contact Indiana Campus Compact. And it's a national organization, this Campus Compact is, and there happens to be one in Indiana. And I would imagine that most states have a Campus Compact in it. And the organization started, I think it was back in the 80s, but essentially their whole purpose was to promote student civic engagement. So I knew I had a friend that worked there, and so I contacted her and said, hey, we tried working with a student at Butler University. It sort of fell through. We'd really like to work with all the universities. Could you help make connection with us? So because Indiana Campus Compact works with most of the universities in the state, they had contacts with their employees that their job is to work with students on service learning projects. So essentially they facilitated a meeting with representatives from all 6 universities. Everyone seemed really excited about it. In fact, it's hard for me to believe, but they don't work together very often. In fact, this was, I think someone said maybe the first time that they all 6 had tried to work on a project jointly together. So that was really gratifying. They were very excited, and so each university rep took it upon themselves to promote tree planting with us and to get students involved and sign up to volunteer for tree planting. In the meantime, we also had another meeting with Bernie Fisher, who is at Indiana University, used to be our state forester, and I'm not really sure what his exact role is with Tree Campus USA, but I don't know if there's sort of an advisory committee, but I know he's actively involved, and he was gracious enough to come up to Indianapolis and to talk to all of our representatives. And then someone had asked questions about funding. Well, for us, Indiana Campus Compact does have grants that they provide to students, and so we actually submitted for, I shouldn't say we, a student from one of the universities, along with their employee at the university, put together a grant request, which was great because then the student got experience put on a resume, and we ended up getting a $1,000 grant from Indiana Campus Compact, which was helpful. Our goal is to plant. This is a group. If the photographer right behind you is 65 and 70, which is a major interstate that runs through Indianapolis. So we were right downtown Indianapolis. The downtown core of Indianapolis Monument Circle is a couple blocks behind where these students are standing. So what we ended up doing is we planned a project, and it happened to be Arbor Day, and we had ended up getting 97 volunteers, primarily students. We had faculty. There was some outreach by the university people for alumni to get involved, but I don't think there was a lot of push for that. And our hope is that as we move forward, that we're really going to be able to bring together alumni, faculty, and students. You can see the highway behind the girl trimming the tree or taking the tag off of it. We ended up with 5 of the 6 universities participating, 3 small private, 2 large public. An Indiana Campus Compact were our partners. The 6 universities that didn't participate was it was sort of a surprise to us because we actually have a board member who is pretty high up in that university. For whatever reason, timing just didn't work out, and that's sort of what you may find when you're working with universities. Timing is pretty important. Of course, early spring is a good time to start tree planting. It's also when students go on spring break. And then they come back, and then they have to study, and they've got finals. We planted 101 Indiana native trees. As I mentioned earlier, we were in a downtown location. Since there isn't a neighborhood to actually say they're going to maintain the trees, we have a number of youth, what we call youth tree teams, sort of based on the Greening of Detroit model, which has been terrific, where we employ high school students that have usually college mentors that actually go out and water trees in locations where there isn't maintenance, there isn't a maintenance plan in place, or there isn't neighborhood capacity to water and maintain the trees. And we also employ them in areas of town where, like greenways. We have something called the Mona, which is our greenway. Runs through neighborhoods, by neighborhoods, but there's not a lot of neighborhood ownership. Next page. What we found when you all, any of you start to look at working with the campuses, with the colleges, is that we thought that they would want trees planted on their campus when in fact most of them did not want trees planted on their campus. In particular, some of the things that came up was that they didn't have the ability to maintain them. When we started out with Butler, they said, the most we can plant on our campus is 10 trees. And Butler is in a beautiful part of Indianapolis. It does have a lot of trees. There's a river that runs along it, but there's plenty of property. And we were thinking, what? They can't plant any more than 10 trees, but it came down to maintenance. It seemed as if they were more interested in actually going into the community, into their surrounding community, into a underserved community, anywhere but on their campus. Now that may just be sort of the characteristics of the universities here in Indianapolis. Yours may be different, but that's sort of what our experience was. And I do know, and Mary talked about this with the standards, we're having to have a plan. I don't know if I'm referring to it right, but it was really important that we got the architect and the maintenance folks, facility people involved, because of course they're the ones that know what the future building plans are for the campus. Because you don't want to plant trees and then 3 years down the road they're torn out for a parking garage, another building, residence housing, that sort of thing. So if you are working with a campus directly working on planting on their property, I think those are your first stops, are really making sure you've got your facilities people bought in at the get-go. As I said earlier, what we found is that probably the best person for us, in our experience, was working with the university staff that deals with service learning, because they have a lot of experience. Typically, we have university students working on projects all year round with KIB. They have a willing and already assembled group of volunteers, which made it really easy for them. They're used to doing it. They're used to partnering with groups like ours and like yours. Making it simple is really important too. I mean, we all decided as a group, let's start with one tree planting. Let's bring us all together. Let's pick a number of trees and volunteers that we think are doable. Our rule of thumb is for every tree planted, we need at least one volunteer. So they all say, yeah, we can each bring 20, 25 students to the project. And then I mentioned earlier, alumni board and students. I think that's sort of our next path will be really having a focus on some of the alumni and board, some of their leadership involved at the universities. Because I'm also, as a development person, always thinking about development, because you get board members involved at universities. Typically, they have some means. And so for me, as a development person, I'm thinking, they get bought in, they like the project, those are potential donors to KIB, or they may really love it and actually help underwrite the cost of some of the tree planting. Our next steps is we're doing a summer debrief. All of the folks from the universities that we were working with, the university reps, all want to do another tree planting. So that's always a good sign that the project went really well. As Mary pointed out, that because it was a service learning project and it was Arbor Day celebration, that they've already met 2 of the 5 standards. So I've already communicated that to the folks, and that'll be on our agenda when we meet again. Because I think it'd be really terrific if all 6 of our universities became Tree Campus USA. And I think I mentioned engaging university leadership and alumni is pretty important. And then sort of even thinking a little more broadly, we talked about creating a toolkit for the universities that they can actually, what I'd like to do is have students help create sort of a toolkit that we can disseminate to other universities in the state of what they did, how they get their students involved. And in particular, we've been talking about a lot of campuses, kids do fundraising for different groups, and we talk about, having some sort of a kit that includes ideas, like what a fundraiser for the students could be, what do you like to do under a tree? They could do a sort of a 24-hour study under a tree or picnic under a tree or a tree sit-in where they actually can raise money, and that money will then help pay for the cost of the trees. As I mentioned, we're looking at sort of broadening to other Indiana universities. We're fortunate the NCAA Final Four will be here next year, and so we're also going to start brainstorming on how we can use Tree Campus USA, Arbor Day Foundation, ACT to actually, spur more interest in tree planting with students and on campuses through Final Four. We really haven't figured out what that's going to be like. I mean, Mary and I have talked a little bit, done a little bit of brainstorming, and if anyone has any ideas, but we're just, some of the thoughts were, to encourage different colleges to participate in tree planting and maybe have some recognition of those that plant the most trees, or I'm not really sure where that's going, but we're still at the point of brainstorming on that. And this is part of my family tree. It's the only reason I put this goofy picture in. But anyhow, if you have any questions about sort of our experience on the ground and trying to implement this, again, as I said, we started off just by trying to get students involved in tree planting and learned about Tree Campus USA, and I think it's just a terrific way to get students involved, and are very much advocating for our universities to apply for Tree Campus USA.
Great. Thanks, Teresa. If the operator can open the lines for questions, please.
Certainly. Once again, if you would like to ask a question, please press star, then 1. Please record your first and last name when prompted.
Great. And I'll remind everyone, too, that you can use the question and answer manager to pull down and ask questions as well. I guess I want to start by saying that I really thought the slide that was titled "It Takes a Leader" was really great, because getting this on the ground perspective and understanding how things work and what the hurdles and the challenges are and the successes, I think are invaluable. So thank you for providing that sort of background information. One of the things I wanted to follow up on was the university that didn't want the trees on their campus. Was there a success that came out of that regarding Keep Indianapolis Beautiful still working with their maintenance staff on how to better maintain trees, or other standards that went along with Tree Campus USA?
Well, it's funny you asked that. So, as I said, the first campus that we approached was Butler, and it's a small private university here. And their operations person just contacted me about a week and a half ago, sort of saying, hey, are you still interested in planting trees here? And I think that someone made a comment earlier about how there's all these budget cuts at universities, and we're having the same thing here. And it made me think, I wonder if they're getting their budget cut and now they're seeing more of the value of us being able to raise money to bring the trees to to help with what their goal is. I don't anticipate that that's going to change. It wasn't just one university, because when we all sat down together, all of them said, I think we'd rather plant outside of our university. We're not sure what our expansion plans are. So I'm not sure that I'm going to see that change very much, unless, again, people start realizing they don't have the budget to plant trees out of university budget dollars, and maybe they're seeing us as a way to get that done. It's possible to change, but I don't know if I answered your question, Jared. Did I?
Yeah. and from what you know of other organizations of similar size, smaller size, larger size, do you think that this program is well packaged for everyone to implement, or are there certain things that were in place with Keep Indianapolis Beautiful that you would recommend other organizations to have in place before they launch into this?
Yeah, I think it sort of depends on what your capacity is, but I mean, if it's important to someone who's listening to this or going to listen to this, I mean, the first step really happened through a friend who actually was an alumni of Sigma University at Butler, and a family friend, and he's real involved with the house. And I said, hey, one thing you might consider doing is, if to get your students out and actively engaged, is maybe they should consider submitting an application to do a tree planting, to sort of lead a tree planting. I mean, it came about sort of through a conversation with a friend, which actually happens a lot for us. So I don't know if our model, if we have this model that's, some terrific model. I think it all boils down to relationships and resources, and essentially, we've done a pretty good job of getting funding partners, so we have some resources, and then it's about reaching out to groups, and we've been strategic about reaching out to groups like this campus thing. So, I guess my recommendation would be if you have the resources to do a tree planting, and meaning funding for the trees and also staff to manage it. I mean, it's as simple as, honestly, if someone's listening and they have a campus compact in their state, they could start with that person because that's their job to get students involved in service learning. Or you could start with, even a cold call if you don't know someone at the university and sort of finding out who works with students in service learning. I mean, there's a number of ways you could do it. I don't know if we didn't have a model. I just sort of reached out, and that's what happened.
I like it. Does the operator have any questions in queue?
At this time, I have no questions in queue.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up, just because I know we're a little bit over, and I apologize for getting started a few minutes late.
That was my fault.
No, not at all. Thanks, everyone, for sticking with us. So I'm going to throw up on the screen a survey link, and this really helps us if everyone could take a couple minutes just to complete the survey after this webcast. It helps us to program our presentations better. Also want to mention that the presentations, the recorded session, and a resource list will be available to everyone who completes the survey after this as well. And that'll be available in about a week. The next webcast is Urban Landscaping Part 1, Bare Root Trees, and it'll be on June 18th, as always the third Thursday of the month, and I hope everyone will consider joining us for that again. For today, I want to thank our presenters, Mary and Teresa, all of the participants, and of course our sponsors, the Home Depot Foundation and the USDA Forest Service. All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.